Good morning. Buenos dias. And welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of San Antonio. Our weekly worship is where we connect, share information, and inspiration. My name is Khadijah Jabbar. I'm a member of the choir. And I broke something. I started coming here in about 2018. I believe Susan asked me to do a solo here for Christmas, and then I just kept coming afterwards. Let's acknowledge this geographical place where we are currently located. Yanawana, the home and traditional lands of the Coahuiltecan people, the original and indigenous stewards of this land to which we all belong, now called San Antonio, Bexar County, Texas. At our church, we strive to enact a universal love that binds us in a mutual care and affection, especially in our work for justice for all and for our planet. Our faith is an all-inclusive one, and all means all. If you are new to us or visiting for the first time today, we welcome you to fill out a visitor's card. We'd like to get to know you and follow up with you. Wherever you are on your life's journey, we hope you will find your place with us.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to invite you to take out your gray hymnal. And let's go to the very beginning of it, a few pages before hymn number 1. So we go past the table of contents and the preface, and we see a page that says, "We, the member congregations of the Unitarian Universalist Association." You'll see that on the left side. And it has the list of our principles. Well, I'm telling you this because I want you to attend to what the theme of our service is, which is what I usually do when I give an invocation. The living tradition we share draws from many sources, right in the middle of the page. And the first one says, the direct experience of transcending mystery and wonder, affirmed in all cultures, which moves us to a renewal of the spirit and an openness to the forces that create and uphold life. Wonderful words. Large words. One might say these words are universal in impact. Today, let's examine the weight that UUs give to experiences of mystery and wonder. But before we do that, I want to invite us to pass the peace to one another. So welcome one another, exchange greetings in the way that suits you. Say hello to someone you know and someone you don't know. All right, everybody. Don't you just love loving on each other? I'm going to invite you to return to your place and pick up the gray hymnal again and turn to number 347. We're going to gather the Spirit and harvest the power. So rise in body or spirit, and let's sing all three verses. Jaime, thank you. Gather the Spirit, harvest the power, our separate fires will kindle one flame, witness. you so much, and please be seated. Nothing like a waltz to get us going here this morning. And look, it's the Beggs, some of the Beggs family coming forward. Mama Kathy and Ava and Lottie. You have a script right there.
So today's Chalice Lighting words come from the song Holy Now by Peter Mayer. Read a questioning child's face and say it's not a testament. That'd be very hard to say. See another new morning come and say it's not a sacrament. I tell you that it can't be done. Lighting our chalice, may we celebrate the direct experience of transcendent mystery and wonder. Thank you.
As I went down to the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the starry crown? Good Lord, show me the way. Let's go down, come on down. Oh, sisters, let's go down, down to the river to pray. As I went down to the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the robe and crown? Good Lord, show me the way. Oh, brothers, let's go down, come on down. Come on, brothers, let's go down, down to the river to pray. As I went down to the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the starry crown? Good Lord, show me the way. Oh, brothers, let's go down, come on down. Oh, brothers, let's go down to the river to pray. As I went down to the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the robe and crown? Good Lord, show me the way. Oh, brothers, let's go down, come on down, don't you want to go down? Come on, brothers, let's go down to the river to pray. Down to the river to pray. Down to the river to
We are called as Unitarian Universalists to build the beloved community where we are all welcome as blessings. May we strive to share grace and forgiveness with ourselves and each other in the hope of becoming whole and reconciled. Each week, we affirm this promise to live and behave as a community. We know that this aim takes work, and so we are committed to live and behave as a community in covenant. Let's recite our covenant that articulates our promises and binds us together. Please read together as follows. Love is the doctrine of the church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other.
It's time to share our joys and sorrows. To prepare for that, I invite us to enter into our hearts and minds in a very intentional way, remembering that ours is a welcoming community that connects us, a spiritual community where we come fully alive, a caring community that hears our sorrows and holds us in compassion, and a caring community where our joys can be amplified. May we listen more deeply and see each other more clearly and grow closer to each other each time we gather together. So we're going to do this little ritual that we do every week, mindfully coming down the side aisles to light a candle and returning up the center aisle in the best path to your seat. Let's savor this moment of remembrance of our joys and sorrows while Jaime plays our meditation music. Come on down. Come on down and light a candle. And you may even pray. May I read from our Book of Joys and Sorrows that is always out on the little table in the foyer for you to add things. Joyful for the beautiful weather. Joyful for Reverend Mark's safe return after a restful vacation. I bet most of you didn't know that I was away for 5 days, but that's the way we like it to be. And joyful for our new members joining today. So many sorrows, too. The continued invasion of Ukraine. Thinking of our dear Pam Kirk, and so grateful for such a supportive and loving congregation who have rallied to give her support. And we're also holding in our hearts the death of Dr. Charles Bowden and supporting his family, especially his widow, Virginia. There is a sign-up genius circulating on email, and we invite you to consider the possibility of attending the memorial celebration that we will have right in here on Friday morning, March the 11th at 11 a.m. And it'll be followed by a reception at their home, which is a 5-minute drive from here. And we'll have explanations about that. So you can make your decision about RSVPing for the memorial service or the reception or both. And Andres Calderon Stout is 9 months old today. The Stout grandparents are here in the front row. I invite you all to take a deep, cleansing breath. Dim your gaze if you wish and go within. For all our joys, sorrows, and concerns, may we each feel empathy and compassion. May the caring of this community grow day by day as we offer a space of deep kindness, loving, and just action. Thank you, and amen. Once a quarter, we celebrate new members, whether they show up or not. My thoughts on membership are that we're changed by any community we choose to join, and becoming a member of First UU is also about accepting that change, welcoming that change, and making a commitment to support and shape this congregation, and opening yourself to the possibility, I would say, yea, the inevitability of being changed by your involvement with this congregation in our context of community. Why join? Joining the church is a formal sign of commitment. With it goes an understanding of both service and support of our community, as you are willing and according to your means. It means lending your energy and talents to grow our young people, to care for our elders, to fight for our principles and passions, to laugh and cry together, and to mark our transitions together. Your membership buoys and strengthens the community, and that means each and every one of us, members, friends, guests, we all share a common bond. Now, membership also allows you to be a voting member on concerns vital to our church community. At our annual meeting in May, members vote to approve the budget, to accept new leaders, to change bylaws affecting our governance. Historically, our members have voted on other important congregational issues too, having to do with our staffing and approving of our growth as a community. So today we'll witness the induction of new members as well as a transition of leadership in our membership committee. David Rodriguez, come on up, David, has faithfully led the committee these past few years and will soon be leaving San Antonio, an event we will celebrate more formally in early April. But you may have noticed that David wrote to us a fond farewell in last Friday's Friday Connection. And thank you, David, for all your service. President of the congregation, youth advisor. I don't want to say anything else. Stop before the minister cries. Heidi McPhillips, come forward, Heidi. You've probably seen Heidi out in the foyer over the last several months as she has been serving as a greeter, and now she has agreed to become the new leader of membership, and we welcome her. David and Heidi will have a significant part in our member joining ceremony, and we'll start out with David and end up with Heidi as the transition progresses. David, you want to step up to the mic and...
Hello, hello. Hello?
There we go.
We are deeply grateful to welcome the following members to our community today. Some have already gotten their goodie bags, but they did want to come up so they could meet you in person. So I'll introduce the new grandparents, Patricia and Johnny Stout. If you could come up. Then we have Gretchen Ferris, who we were told may be ill and couldn't make it today, so I'm not sure if she's here. Okay, she may not be here today, but we'll thank Gretchen Ferris for her membership. Jamal Brown, I know, is here in the back. Welcome, Jamal. He's at work over there. Thank you, Jamal. Francisca Bermudez, come on up. And Francisca has already taken on the role of coordinating our worship associates, so thank her for that also. Yes. Margaret Farrell, who I just met this morning, there you are. And Megan Voppel. Yes, there you go. See new members who'd like to say something, we'll have them come up one at a time.
I'd just like to say, many years back, I lived actually in Silver Spring, Maryland, and so it's very different now. But my family went to the Paint Branch Unitarian Church, and then I went to All Souls Unitarian Church in Washington, D.C. But many years have passed, and I've traveled many places. Sad to say, my husband died in just December of this year, and I went to a Catholic church with him for many years. But after his death, I just feel I need to find my roots again. So here I am, and I'm glad to be a new member. Thank you.
We're delighted.
My name's Johnny Stout. I have no idea how to be brief, so I'm going to allow my wife to fill you all in.
Hi, I'm Patty. I'm really grateful to be here. Moved here about a year ago from the north shore of Lake Pontchartrain across the lake from New Orleans. We were Unitarians there at North Shore UU for about 25 or 28 years, and it's been kind of hard to get to know you all this year because we've been very COVID cautious with the baby, and I can't see half of your face, but we look forward to getting to know you more, and I'm involved a little bit with the Social Justice Committee, a little tiny bit, so great to see everybody. Thank you for welcoming us.
Hi, I'm Megan. I was raised in the Catholic Church, but just never really felt quite right to me. And this community has been really eye-opening to me. I'm very excited to be around like-minded people. So thank you, and I look forward to meeting you.
Hi, my name is Francisca Ramirez, and I walk a red road, and I wanted to find a fellowship that I could share the same values, and this has been a very welcoming place for me, and I very much appreciate it. I have found very sweet friends. I have a pew buddy, Bonnie, and Chris with her books, and you all have been very welcoming, and I thank you very much.
Wild Spirit. So we've heard a little bit from you, and now I want to invite us all to communicate a little bit together. If you have your order of service, we have some words that we would like to share. We regularly recite our covenant on Sundays, and in honor of our new members today, I'd like to introduce us more to our community agreement, which is also a covenant, a model for our aspirations and behaviors. It was put together by our Committee on Shared Ministry, leaders of our church whose responsibilities include supporting our minister and strengthening and improving relations within the congregation. I'll read a preamble and invite us all to share the reading of it, starting with we will behave in ways that support our mission. But first, the preamble. In order to establish and maintain a sanctuary of safety and trust, these aspirational guidelines for our behaviors with each other have been created from our own experiences and for our own benefit. It's understood that our commitments may be made, broken, and restored as a part of our process of growth. So let's start with we will behave in ways that support our mission. We intend to model kindness, to promote justice, equity, and compassion, share time, talent, and treasure, honor our past, embrace change, and celebrate successes. Thank you. Next, we will communicate thoughtfully with others. We intend to practice patience and look for good intentions in each other's actions. Learn from and listen to each other. Speak honestly from our own experiences and perspectives. Respect the personal nature of comments that others may share. And finally, we will honor differences. We intend to resist making assumptions about one another. Work toward forgiveness whenever we fall short of expectations. Speak directly to each other or request mediation to negotiate misunderstandings. Welcome the diversity among us with curiosity, acceptance, and empathy. Thank you very much. Heidi, will you close us out? You wanted to speak from
There
the
was
pulpit.
no, I just wanted to, push this. There was no dress rehearsal. Hello, everyone. These closing words are by Thomas Rhodes. In this community, we reach back into the past to honor those who came before us and those who have given so much that we may be here today. And we reach forward with hands of welcome to embrace those who have newly joined with us. Wherever your path may take you, may you carry the good news you have heard here today with you in your heart and on your lips as a blessing to everyone you meet. Let's greet our new members after the service as we gather on the patio. I hear there's cake. Yes.
Let's pose for a picture. And just with your mask down for the picture, huh? Can you get us, should we squeeze together? A little less compassionate distance. All right, thank you. Jaime wears a lot of hats, including photographer, and now would you lead us in our recessional and singing our children out? Let's all sing. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the power of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. And I'm delighted to see so many young people staying. I'm assuming that you really want to hear this sermon. But first, music with Karen Davis.
Good morning.
Our church has a larger purpose to support all of us in becoming more generous in giving of our time, talent, and treasure, all in a context of trust. So the offering today that Karen will accompany us with a wonderful offertory song is taking place in the middle of our pledge drive. So if you brought your pledge form with you, or you intend to make a payment toward your pledge, you may put that in the basket, or you may send it to Kathy McFarland in our office. For those of you viewing online, we invite you to make any contribution that you feel so moved to do on the link on the chat stream. And now if our ushers will come forward and pass the baskets, we'll hear Karen sing this beautiful song. Thank you.
Good morning. The Call is one of Ralph Vaughan Williams' 5 mystical songs, and as such, it goes with the theme of the sermon this morning. A lot of you will be familiar with it because it's in our hymnal. This is a solo version, so there are some differences, as you will hear. Come my way, my truth, my life, such a way as gives us breath, such a truth as ends all strife, such a life as killeth death. Come, my light, my feast, my strength, such a light and shows a feast, such a feast as mends in length, such a strength as mendeth
We bless these offerings we have received for our church and its many ministries and activities. May our blessings be multiplied through our sharing of them. Amen. Direct and unmediated personal religious experience is, as our first source indicates, a widespread phenomenon, and one would be hard-pressed to name a religion or a culture in which it is absent. From the Aborigines' dream time and the Red Road, the native indigenous people's vision quest, to the revelatory experience of American astronaut Edgar Mitchell returning from his visit to the moon, we find that some human beings really tune in to a reality that remains unfamiliar to many of us. This is how Mitchell, a man with a PhD in aeronautics, described it, quote, "There was suddenly a very deep gut feeling that something was different. Seeing the sun set in the background of a very deep, black, and velvety cosmos, I knew for sure that there was a purposefulness of flow, of energy, of time, and of space in the cosmos that was beyond a human's rational ability to understand. Suddenly, on my way home and gazing through 240,000 miles of space toward the stars and the planet from which I came, I experienced the universe as intelligent, loving, and harmonious." Close quote. Now, some of you likely recognize key words in Mitchell's description that have echoed countless times and in many different idioms throughout the ages. And even in our modern world, where rationalism and scientific testing of ideas hold sway, the mystical and mysterious faculty that we possess refuses to be suppressed. I can't help but feel the song that Karen and Jaime shared with us today. What can I say? Oh, my goddess. Yeah. Mystical and mysterious. Reports such as these may not sound as startling as they once did. Since the 1960s, many people have adopted spiritual practices of one sort or another, the ostensible purpose of which is to render the individual more open and receptive and connected to this kind of an experience, a direct experience of mystery and wonder. Now, the proponents of experientially based religions like Buddhism and Hinduism would certainly agree as well, which is why their technologies of spiritual development, meditation and yoga, receive so much emphasis in Buddhism and Hinduism. It's not enough to adopt a set of beliefs, tenets, and even rituals of a religious system. The serious seeker and student will work diligently to improve the quality of their awareness in order to apprehend the highest truths directly. Buddha exhorted his followers, "Be ye lamps unto yourself." In other words, put my teachings to the test, for if true, they will be reflected in your own direct experience. And today, UUs are encouraged to try things on for ourselves. But that wasn't always so. Let me tell you a little story. In 1837, Ralph Waldo Emerson delivered the valedictory at Harvard Divinity School to his students and faculty members, and he urged all of them to teach and preach out of their own experiences rather than biblical texts. Now, this was a pretty radical idea back in 1837. Andrews Norton, a distinguished Unitarian member of the Harvard faculty, denounced his suggestion as, quote, "the latest form of infidelity," unquote. And for several decades thereafter, religious liberals remained deeply divided on the issue of where inspiration came from and what is the authority on which we base that. Members of the old guard warned about the erosion of scriptural authority in Unitarianism. They said that Emerson was sanctioning mysteries of individual religious experience. Even in 1859, 20 years later, Henry Whitney Bellows, perhaps the most influential Unitarian minister of the time, told another Harvard audience that, quote, "the Holy Spirit communicates itself more reliably to humanity in general through revelation in the Scriptures than it does to private individuals," close quote. Now, Emerson and what we know now as the Transcendentalists were not saying that the Bible was irrelevant. They were as passionate about scriptures and even about Jesus as their Christian counterparts. But for Christianity to be a vital, lived religion, they argued, its truths must be reconfirmed in the most intimate and immediate manner in each seeker's heart. Now, by the turn of the 20th century, Transcendentalism, which teaches that people have knowledge about themselves and the world around them that transcends or goes beyond what they can see, hear, taste, touch, or feel. Basically, that people can trust themselves to be their own authority on what is right. That was the brainchild of Emerson. That had pretty much been assimilated into Unitarianism and was gaining influence among Universalists. You know, we became Unitarian Universalists in 1961, so well into the 20th century. The denomination's receptivity to direct religious experience was eventually attested to by Lewis Craig Cornish, who served as the president of the Universalists. And he wrote, quote, "I confess myself a believer in the mystics," unquote. Now, in some measure, I too am an adherent to this belief. I submitted myself at the age of 40 to a month-long vision quest led by a shaman. It included 9 days in the wilderness under the guidance of that shaman, culminating with 4 days of fasting on water alone and crying for my vision. 40 years of age. It's about half my life ago. My whole life changed after that, which I call a watershed experience. It's not surprising, even though it took 5 years for the changes to be implemented. There were a lot of parts that needed to move. And many of you know that I still have a regular practice of meditation and yoga. And so I guess with the mystics, I believe that the fringes of consciousness touch hidden sources of power greater than me, which the waking consciousness cannot explain and may not even understand. So why am I telling this to a bunch of rationalists in this room? Well, it's because I think that there's a more evolved intelligence than thinking alone can supply. And this enters into the realm ascribed to by one of our greatest thinkers, Albert Einstein, who said, "Imagination is more important than knowledge." Go figure. Now, by the 1950s, most Unitarians had adopted a humanistic outlook born of the Humanist Manifesto of the early 1930s. I'll speak more about this next week when I deal with the topic of humanism. But you know, the humanist outlook left little room for subjective religious experience. It was fiercely rational and resolutely skeptical. The humanist movement dismissed the mysteries of mysticism as superstitious mumbo-jumbo. Yet, no less than groundbreaking psychologist Abraham Maslow wrote in 1964, open quote, "The Unitarian Universalists leave out too much that is precious to most human beings. They make no place in their systems for the mysterious, the unknown, the unknowable, or the ineffable, the inexact, the metaphorical, the mythic, the ambiguous. All are considered to be lower and therefore not good. Something to be improved toward pure rationality and logic." He continues to write, "No wonder that the liberal religions exert so little influence in the world today, even though their members are among the most intelligent and most capable sections of our population." And so Maslow himself, the architect of the pyramid of human needs and all that, concludes by saying, it must be so, just as long as they base themselves on a lopsided picture of human nature. End quote. Now, ironically, Maslow called his psychological movement humanistic psychology. He published this rebuke of Unitarian Universalism as UUs were just beginning to revisit in the late 60s and 70s the rich legacy left to us by the Transcendentalists. It was during that time that we began the homework that we eventually published in the 1980s of our list of UU principles, purposes, and sources that we first found before hymn number 1 in our gray hymnal. Since then, we have not much returned to our early 20th century rational skepticism. And so to conclude, let me tell you this. In today's UU faith, the, quote, direct experience of transcending mystery and wonder, unquote, is not listed as the sixth, the fifth, or even the second of our six sources from which we draw inspiration. It's the very first. Therefore, let us find ways to incorporate the direct experience of mystery and wonder into our lives, starting now. May it be so. And let us get our gray hymnals out and turn to number 20 and rise in body and spirit and reprise a little bit of this beautiful hymn, Be Thou My Vision. Jaime? Be thou my vision, O God of my heart, not be all else to me, save that thou art. Thou my best thought by day or by night, waking or sleeping, thy presence my light. Be thou my wisdom, and thou my true word. I ever with thee, and thou with me, God. Thou my soul shelter, thou my high tower. Raise thou me heavenward, O power of my power. Riches I heed not, nor world's empty praise. Thou my inheritance, now and always. Thou and thou only, first in my heart. Sovereign of heaven, my treasure thou art. Thank you, and please be seated. Some of you may wonder, how in the world did you ever sing those words? And let me tell you, as a humanist mystic, I have to walk a very interesting tightrope. I know Megan said she was raised Catholic, and I again will ask the show of hands for other people who were raised Catholic in this room. Yeah, it's a pretty high percentage of Unitarian Universalists. And it's interesting because a group of adults in this church have put together a religious education class that will premiere today online about how to engage the religion of your childhood, the religion that you came out of. I see other people nodding in here who are card-carrying Buddhists and atheists and people that are totally committed to the scientific search and process, and I am your minister too. I'm fluid in these languages. Gotta be. As we extinguish our chalice, may we be mindful of maintaining our membership and friendship as a community. And that is, above all, a joy. A joy. Sorry about that, people online. Let's get this one going here. I respectfully remind us that we launched our pledge drive last Sunday, and we're asking everyone to contribute. We'd like to have 100% of us support our stewardship during this month of March, so that we may continue to do the good work, continue to provide this beloved community of all kinds of people, and that we may advance our principles and purposes and sources and the vision of this church and make our influence more widely known and felt throughout this planet. It's our hope that all members and friends of this community, whatever your level of involvement, will take ownership of our direction and efforts by contributing to the annual pledge drive. Thank you. And Jaime, please play us out so that we can gather on the patio to greet our new members and one another. Amen.